Welcome to the Dansports.tips MLB show for today, the 7th of April. I'm going to be taking a look at all the sports betting needs for today in the Major League Baseball games, and I'll be looking at DraftKings Daily Fantasy after that as well. Close but no cigar yesterday. We were 1 out of 2 on the singles, and we were very close on the ACCA if it wasn't for those lovely late runs by Miami against Washington there. On to today, there are 4 bets that I'm looking at. I'm going to be taking 4 points Washington and Philadelphia to go over 7 total runs. I've got 2 points on Anthony Rizzo to hit a home run, the Chicago Cubs to beat the Milwaukee Brewers, and in the same game Kyle Schwarber to hit a home run and the Chicago Cubs to beat the Milwaukee Brewers. And I'm also going to put 3 points on Yasiel Puig to hit a home run for the Los Angeles Dodgers against Colorado. The wind is forecast to be in the hitters' favour quite strongly today in Philadelphia. Vince Velasquez for Philadelphia did start the year strong last season before faltering in the second half. Scherzer was burned by the home run early in the season, and I just think that with the wind forecast to be blowing out in a hitter's yard, 7 runs is just too low. The Cubs will head up the road to Milwaukee and face Jimmy Nelson. He's also been known to have home run issues in a yard that does play well for left-handed power hitters. I do think the Cubs will win the game, so I'll double up with their prime lefty bats in Schwarber and Rizzo to hit the ball out of the park, and for the Cubs to hang the W on the Brew Crew. And finally, first game of the season at Coors Field, that notorious home run yard. Yasiel Puig, he's hit 2 home runs in a game already this season, has been swinging a hot bat. As I say, it's an extreme home run park at altitude, a rookie pitcher on the hill for Colorado as well. I fancy Puig to get a home run today and hopefully to get this right the ship a little bit after a fairly dodgy start to the season. Moving on to daily fantasy sports for DraftKings today, the starting pitchers I'm willing to use are Francisco Liriano of the Toronto Blue Jays for 8,900, AJ Griffin of the Texas Rangers for 6,100, Amir Garrett of the Cincinnati Reds for 5,500, and Matt Cain of the San Francisco Giants for 5,500. Liriano gets to pitch today in a yard that should suit his skill set with some strikeout opportunity as well. Pitching does look tricky again today, to be honest with you. The weather forecast conditions favour the hitters in a lot of places today, so I prefer to look at the bottom end of the market for a second starter to ensure that I can get some of those hitters into my lineups. The weather in Texas will be plenty warm enough, but it does have the wind forecast to be blowing in. Griffin is capable of putting up some decent numbers against the Athletics, and I think he's worth a flyer. Rookie Amir Garrett, he will have some success early on potentially until there's enough tape for hitters to study his pitch set in detail. He has tasted success throughout the minor league levels, carries a decent enough strikeout rate of around 1 per inning. It's a pretty boom or bust pitch. We never know with a rookie. There is decent upside here, but he could also be overwhelmed. And as for Matt Cain, he's far from the elite pitcher of old. In fact, he's pretty bad these days, but he couldn't be in a much better yard for pitching at Petco, and he's got a pretty futile in the main Padres offense up against him as well. Few stacks I'm looking at today. I've got the Chicago Cubs in their first baseman, Anthony Rizzo for 5,500. Catcher or outfield is where Kyle Schwarber can be used for 5,000. And switch hitting Ben Zobrist qualifies at second and in the outfield for 4,700. The Los Angeles Dodgers, second baseman Logan Forsythe for 4,900. Outfielder Yasiel Puig for 5,100. Third baseman Justin Turner for 4,900. And outfielder Franklin Gutierrez for 4,700. And the Baltimore Orioles, I'll take Mark Trumbo. He can be used at first or in the outfield for 4,700. Chris Davis, who's also first or outfield for 4,900. Adam Jones in the outfield for 4,600. And third baseman or shortstop Manny Machado for 5,600. I will certainly be looking to stack as many sort of lefty hitting Cubs as I can. It's virtually a home game for them, Brewer Park today, and the way the Cubs fans travel up the road there. Nelson has had some issues in the past with home runs as well, and we know it's a great yard for left-handed power. The Dodgers are at Coors against a rookie, so load up on their right-handers there, and I will take some Orioles against Luis Severino. He was a disaster last season, hasn't had a strong spring. The yard is pretty good for hitters. The wind today is forecast to be fairly neutral, blowing across the field, which isn't going to aid either pitchers or hitters. My foundation players today, I'll take Todd Frazier, who qualifies at first or third for the Chicago White Sox for 4,600. Second base, I'll take Rougned Odor of Texas for 4,800. Second base or third base for Daniel Murphy of Washington for 4,400. Shortstop Francisco Lindor for 4,400. And I'll take Bryce Harper in the outfield for 4,800 of the Nationals today. Frazier gets an extreme fly ball pitcher in Phil Hughes in non-ideal conditions. It will be cold, wind will be blowing in slightly, so it's not going to be quite as good conditions for us as it was yesterday at what's now called Guaranteed Rate Field, but that is still a good hitter's yard. Hughes does allow home runs and he allows them in bunches. Rougned Odor has started the season hot, has had a couple of home runs in the game the other day. He enjoyed some platoon advantage today as well. Daniel Murphy and Bryce Harper will both have platoon with excellent forecast conditions against Vince Velasquez, and the switch hitter Lindor gets to face Shelby Miller. It remains to be seen if he can rediscover his form from prior seasons after a nightmare last year post a trade from the Braves. My value play today, catcher Matt Wieters of Washington for 3,100, Brandon Moss, who qualifies at first or in the outfield of Kansas City, for 3,600, D. Gordon at second from Miami for 4,000, Cody Ash of the White Sox is the third base or in the outfield for 3,800, shortstop Eduardo Nunez of the San Francisco Giants for 3,800, and outfielder Domingo Santana of the Milwaukee Brewers for $4,000. Wieters has been swinging a pretty hot bat this early stage of the season. He can hit for power as well. His great weather conditions forecast today. Brandon Moss has platoon against Fires in a slightly above average yard at Minute Maid for lefty power. Cody Ash should be in the lineup with the platoon against Phil Hughes for the White Sox today. And again, Hughes is an extreme fly ball pitcher. Eduardo Nunez is in Petco, which is obviously a negative from power perspective, but he does face Luis Perdomo. That's a positive. Perdomo is not a good pitcher, and Nunez has been swiping bags for upside early in this season. And Domingo Santana, he hits lefties very well. He has Brett Anderson today. Now, Anderson is a ground ball pitcher in the main, but I think Santana's probably worth a play in that matchup as well. That's what I got for you today. Best of luck if you join me on the Sports Bets. Have a good time with your lineups on DraftKings. Please do like the channel, subscribe, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Give me a follow on Twitter at Dansports.tips. I'm here regularly throughout the season. Not sure if there'll be a video tomorrow. Check the Twitter account to see either way. I'll see you soon.